Okay, these are the Mod 14.1 notes. This is page 8. So example 4, we're going to continue reinforcing the vocabulary. Make sure you are comfortable with the terminology. Your friend decides to run for the president at CCD Student Government. She tells you that in a pre-election poll, the confidence interval for the proportion of people who would vote for her in the real election was 75% to 85%. So there is our confidence interval. 75%, 85%. What was the original single value estimate that was not an interval? This number is known as the point estimate. So remember that our point estimate has to be the number exactly in the middle. So we can find that by averaging the two ends of our interval. I got 160 divided by 2, which is 80%, which makes sense because 80 is halfway between 75 and 85. Next thing we want to find is the margin of error. The margin of error is the distance from our point estimate to the end of the interval, the either end, because it should be the same. Our point estimate is exactly in the middle. So our margin of error, that's an O, is going to be my upper limit minus my point estimate. I get 5. And just to double check, make sure I didn't mess something up with my point estimate, I can subtract that point estimate minus the lower, and I get a margin of error of 5%. Again, the point estimate is exactly in the middle of the interval. 14.1 focuses on proportions, but as long as we are talking about this, we're going to look at example 5 and apply this to means. Kind of give you a preview of what we are going to do in Mod 14 Part 2. We want to find out how many hours per night CCD students sleep. Further, suppose you gave a survey to 500 CCD students and found their mean number of hours of sleep was 6.5 plus or minus 2 hours. Okay, now, that gives us the mean. Found their mean is 6.5. The plus or minus 2 is our margin of error. So the confidence interval for the mean number of hours of sleep, 6.5 plus or minus 2. I'm going to do the exact same thing I did when I was working with proportions. My point estimate, the 6.5 minus the margin of error, and then my point estimate, the 6.5 plus our margin of error, I get a confidence interval of 4.5 to 8.5. Our margin of error, again, is this 2. From the center of our interval, we go 2 up and 2 below. So the margin of error is 2. It says to include units, so we're going to be specific, 2 hours. We want to talk about or remind ourselves of ways to decrease the margin of error. I can increase the sample size. And I can decrease the confidence level. Which feels weird talking about that because we have not really talked about how to find or determine the confidence level. We're going to put those in there though. The center of the confidence interval, and I am still referring to example 5. is the point estimate. In this case, it's our 6.5 hours. The distance between the center and one endpoint is called the margin of error. And in this case was 2 hours.